Hey, what's up, you guys? So, as you can tell by the title of this video, another looking back, introspective, I guess you could call video. I like doing these all the time. It's just fun to talk about my personal experience with Transformers and just everything in general over the years. It's my little outlet. But I'm just thinking back and looking back on certain stuff with my childhood and the era that I and many of you watching this video grew up in, the 2000s and the early 2010s. Those were really pinnacle years. Like, I was just laying down on my bed thinking about this stuff, and I'm like, man, I was so grateful to be born the time I was born in so I could experience the 2000s and the early 2010s, because there's kids who were born in freaking 2007, who were born in 2012, who are early teens now, or mid to late teens actually, who didn't experience any of that, who get secondhand accounts from people like me who are a little older, who grew up in that era. And it was just amazing. Like, you had the Transformers movie franchise starting, you had the MCU starting a year later with Iron Man, which is a peak movie till this day. You had the Star Wars prequels, you had the Clone Wars cartoon. Like, I was just thinking about this. Like, this was my childhood sometimes. Like, I would watch Cartoon Network with the Clone Wars. They would have like a couple episodes on or something. Then, if I was lucky that day, they would have one of the prequel movies on, like TNT or AMC or something, or FX. And then, I would just watch Transformers movie, or I know this is kind of random, but I've told this in many videos over the last couple years, but I would either watch Transformers Energon on DVD as well. That was like the first cartoon I got on DVD for Transformers, and that I was basically exposed to after the 2007 movie. As random as it sounds, that's just my personal experience. Everybody's experience with Transformers is a little different from each other. So, yeah, after I saw the 2007 movie, I don't know how many days or weeks later it was, but I was at Walmart with my mom, and I can't remember how it went down exactly, but I wound up getting the first, like, 6 episodes of Transformers Energon on DVD after that Walmart visit, and I watched it on DVD probably thousands of times over however many years I had that DVD until it was like thrown out or something. But yeah, those are fun times, man. And you just don't get that anymore nowadays. I don't know if it's like because I'm getting older. I'm in my 20s now. I'm not a teenager. I'm not a little kid anymore. But it just doesn't feel the same, even if you are a teenager right now or a little kid. It's just not the same experience. And especially with how technology is, you don't really get that sacred personal feeling with experiencing media or pop culture anymore. Just everything is out there in the open. You got social media and all this different stuff. Which, not to say social media and all this technology wasn't around when I was a little kid. It just wasn't as pronounced or as advanced as it was 10, 15, 20 years later in 2025 as it is now. So, yeah, it's an interesting time, and we really got to navigate through this all together, as time goes on, because none of this is going to stop unless if the world ends miraculously, which could happen, but, it is a small chance. You never know. It's just crazy times we're living in. The MCU really isn't doing as well as it used to. Transformers movies are bombing. They're not the billion-dollar franchise it used to be. Star Wars is getting ridiculed, and rightfully so in certain areas, and not in other areas. It's absolutely ridiculous sometimes. It's just crazy to me, guys. Like, and looking at the tariffs and everything that's going on, the price increases that we're going to be facing, and there's copers in my comment section like this was going to happen besides without Trump or whatever, and these prices are going to go down once the tariff situation is fixed. This is not going to happen. Well, first off, let me talk about the excuse of this was going to happen with or without Trump doing what he did with the tariffs. Prices are being raised accordingly to the tariffs and the percentages that these companies and corporations are being charged. So it seems like prices are being raised because of the tariffs. I don't really know what to tell these people. But yeah, I mean, yeah, AliExpress was definitely gonna start adding an extra $90 charge onto figures you buy on their website just cuz. Definitely not because of a tariff war going on right now. Totally, you're making the utmost of sense right now. These prices are gonna go down. I highly doubt it. People were saying the same thing when the first major price increases happened in this decade in the 2020s a few years ago when all that stuff was going on with the pandemic. And a few years later, prices still haven't gone down. They've only risen. I mean, prices with certain things went down like I just throw out a random example. Like core class went down like $2. It was like what was it like 12, 13.99 and it went back down to like 10.99 or 11.99 or something. So you had that, which really was super minor and really a nothing burger, honestly. But most things stayed the same price post inflation with all that stuff that happened. So you're really gonna tell me these corporations are gonna all of a sudden start being morally correct and lower the prices if and when this tariff war ends? I highly doubt that. I think if anything, it's just gonna keep going the way it's going. And, you just look at things in the past, we've been having this formula for Transformers since Beast Wars, the late 90s. Deluxe class was like $10, Voyager was like 15, 20, I think. Leader class, I think it was called Ultra class back then, was like 30 to 40. And then you had Supreme class at times, which was around 80 to 100, if I remember correctly. I grew up with those price points too. And then over time, after around like 2008, 2009, during like the first major recession, it just seems like things just never really recovered after 2008. Because since then, we've just been getting steady price increase after price increase on product, food, whatever else. The last 17 years, basically. Because they were going strong for like 12 years with the same price points, basically, for Scout class, Deluxe, Voyager, Leader class. There was a size class in between Voyager and Leader. I forgot what it was called. But Supreme class 2. All these price points were basically the same for like 12 years until 2008. And then ever since then, every few years, every like 4 or 5 years, there's been a price increase on all these size classes. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's annoying and pathetic. And with those price increases, the quality of the product goes down. Like, I'm looking on my shelf right now. I'm looking at freaking 2005 Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime, which, mind you, was considered a freaking gimmick toy back in 2005. Nowadays, you pay $40 for a gimmick toy, and the freaking arms and legs barely move. But with that Optimus, you have freaking hand articulation. What gimmick toys nowadays give you freaking premium hand articulation at this point? That's something that they save for the quote-unquote collector lines, which is insane. But I'm looking at that Optimus, and I'm comparing it to a more modern leader class, like, say, Transmetal 2 Megatron. That's like one of the only modern leader class figures I still have that I haven't sold off. It's night and day. Barely any features. Hollowness, a lot smaller. Less weighty. Less parts. It is insane. And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse with some of the points I'm making in this video, but I feel like at times it needs to be said, like, because it just seems like we all get just what's the right word? I guess complacent with these changes and these downgrades over time because we're just used to it at this point. We've been going through this for basically 17 years since 2008. And it just feels like this never-ending cycle and story of just price increase after price increase, quality change after quality change. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if after like Age of the Primes they go back to the crappy quality that we got during the Prime Wars trilogy 7 years ago, before we got the shift in quality that we got during Siege in 2019, which is more or less what we've been getting since then, the last 6 years, which I'm grateful for. But, even then, the quality differs between figures, and certain things aren't what they were back when this shift in design build happened in 2019. Certain things, even since then, are different now, 6 years later, because of the economy, budget, price increases, whatever you want to blame it on. So it's just ridiculous to me that even some people are like just okay with this. They're still gonna do their thing in the industry and in collecting and everything, and they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. It is what it is. The economy, blah blah blah, just making excuses for just the reality we're living in, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. But I just hope one day all this stuff just gets cleared out, and I don't know, maybe there is a silver lining or a good ending one day that's going to happen with all this stuff. I honestly don't know. You just never know with this life that we live, this weird life. But yeah, point of the matter is, I don't want to ramble on too much longer in this video. I just want to say that thinking back in the 2000s and early 2010s, things were just seemed a lot better pop culture wise, and it just seemed a lot more fun to grow up in that era than it is for like a 10 or 15-year-old nowadays. But that's just my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below how y'all guys feel about what I said in this video. And yeah, thank y'all for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.